Hello and welcome back, everyone, to La-Mulana 2 on Rocket Rabbit Commentaries. And in this episode, we have made it to the Immortal Battlefield. As our opening tablet actually says, this place is constantly at war with, well, itself. There aren't actually all that many factions in this particular part of the ruins. Mostly because the faction divide doesn't actually start coming up until later on in the game. But the faction divide that is here is extremely relevant, mostly because this is how we're supposed to figure out that the Vanir and I actually forget what the fucking what the other faction is because we have not been introduced to them yet. But yeah. There are two Nordic factions that are both here and it's the Vanir and the Lokapala are here. This particular creature is called an Elbal. He is a member of the Lokapala and he has a machine gun.
So I guess the Nazis left it behind in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
They predate the Nazis, Mr. Cloud. I mean. The Nazis very specifically have not actually been here. Oh, sorry, he doesn't have the machine gun. He's got the rolling bombs. Also, we also have the lycanthropes as well. The lycanthropes aren't actually all that interesting. They're just, yeah. So, as Kubera mentions here, the Immortal Battlefield is effectively run by the Lokapala, and as annotations Gerdat mentions here, the L-Ball specifically are the L-Ball part of the Lokapala are how you can tell that you're making actual positive progress in the game, because they all start leaking into other areas after you successfully start making some significant progress.
Oh, geez, you could just float through that. God damn. Okay, now the game is starting to remind me. As while we were going through La-Mulana 1 in a totally not game developer intended order because it was a randomizer, now we got to start really keeping our minds open to the hidden stuff.
I really didn't want to fall into the spike trap, but I couldn't figure out a way not to avoid it. So, we have just acquired the Gale Fibula. The Gale Fibula is honestly an extremely powerful item. Keep it turned off for most of the game because this is what it does. While the Gale Fibula is turned on, Lumisa enters an uncontrollable run state. She runs somewhere between 3 and 4 times as fast, and she actually gains a pretty significant long jump. However, she cannot start or stop running. As in, if you start walking with it, you will immediately break out into a run.
Okay, so when are you supposed to use the fibula?
You are supposed to use the Gale Fibula very specifically to avoid crushing hazards, as well as for solving other similar puzzles later on in the ruins. The Gale Fibula right now is more or less a noob trap for us, but it's important that we got it now, simply because it'll allow us to explore the Immortal Battlefield a little bit more efficiently.
Eventually that girl's gotta, serve the fruit that she's carrying around in the tray on her head.
No, it's actually a water drug. And, she's going from a well that we don't see, back to and from a well that we don't see.
Begone with you, dark elves.
Ouch.
Ow. You guys aren't fair. You could just jump down from anywhere. So thank God that we haven't run into your higher damage dealing pallet swaps yet.
The thing about that, Mr. Cloud, there are actually, if we want to throw the term pallet swap around, the Toads don't technically have a pallet swap, but they do have a mini boss upgrade, and he performs significantly differently than they do. Ouch.
Ow. Uh-oh. Oh, thank God, we could escape.
I mean, we had the Holy Grail. We could have just warped out, but I wanted to show off that there was something in there specifically because, there's a skeleton there, and you're supposed to explore the areas that skeletons have happened in. Throw the spear, and then we get the Nibiru Encyclopedia entry. Yes, all of the village NPCs also have Ruins Encyclopedia entries, including Zelpud. It's just going to take us a while in order to get all of them. As a point of fact, I don't think we actually do get all of them, because I think either Giltorial or Alcidona's is in an area that we're not going to actually go explore.
So long as you know the name of the area. Because the name of the area will help you to rationalize the hints that this abundance of NPCs in this game will tell you to where you're supposed to go.
Specifically, if you know how to read and or speak Japanese. Okay. We're not supposed to get into this quite yet. However, there are several of, one of the mid/late game transitional puzzles requires that you know how to specifically read the phonetic implications of katakana. How the fuck are you supposed to know that? I'm not entirely certain, but yeah, the game gets Dark Souls with its cryptic bullshit in several fucking parts. There we go. We finally got the next sacred orb that we needed. So now we can actually go deal with Vritra safely.
I find it quite appropriate for a game that is based on the cryptic, the hard to understand, the mysterious, and then because of that basis, that players may be unable to finish the game because they can't figure out what to do.
La-Mulana only had a couple of individual puzzles that were like that, and they were all reserved to the very end of the game. La-Mulana 2 has several puzzles like that, and they are, the transitional point between mid and end game. There we go. We finally actually took down the Valkyrie. Blah.
Liquor.
Alright. So, we finally have 96 HP. I finally feel confident, past Gerdat feels confident enough in order to go take down our next major area guardian.
It's nice how much safer these expanded health bars make you feel versus the extremely tiny Bloodborne health bar that you start off with in some games, like Bloodborne.
I'm trying to think. I don't think any Kirby game starts with a negligible amount of health, thankfully. There are Kirby games that allow you to increase your maximum health, thankfully, but they are usually superfluous upgrades, to be perfectly honest.
Well, thankfully, it's not like Donkey Kong 64 level of fragile when you start off in that game.
I forget, you only have one health orb in Donkey Kong 64 when you start, right?
You only have one health melon when you start the game, and every health melon consists of 4 slices. If you lose all of your slices of watermelon, then you collapse.
All right,
and the game's
husband,
over.
You have successfully brought forth another Ankh pedestal for us to use. Behold, Vritra. All right.
Nice.
So from this point on, with the exception of exactly one other area guardian, we're going to be using sub weapons for all of our area guardian fights. Specifically because sub weapons almost trivialize most of the area guardian fights. The downside is because we only have the shuriken that can, well, not just the shuriken. We actually have the best sub weapon in the game already, thankfully, but. Because we spend most of this fight using the shuriken only deals 1 point of damage per hit, so this fight takes us much longer than it's supposed to. That said,
I think it's fine.
That said, this is much safer than trying to melee Vritra, because if you're trying to melee Vritra, you usually get 1, maybe 2 attacks off, and then you absolutely need to flee, and then it's like another, 10-15 seconds before you have another opportunity to try and hit him. The actual issue for a good portion of the fight is actually staying on the platforms in order to deal with Vritra, because remember, the water here is poisonous.
Yes, we should be very well aware of the toxicity of the water.
But Vritra is already half dead.
More than half dead.
All right. So, yes, Vritra has entered stage 2. Now we can switch over to our better sub-weapon, the Earth Spear. The Earth Spear does somewhere between 2 and 3 points of damage. I'm not entirely sure how much.
And
but,
booyah.
Yeah. If you're using the Earth Spear for the entire fight against Vritra, it goes much, much faster. But I just got the Earth Spear. I don't have all that many of them, and I need some for some other mini bosses coming up. So, trying to conserve our ammo.
Yeah.
Vritra has been defeated. Woot! And the adventure continues.
Jumps.
So, after defeating Vritra, we get the Scale Sphere. Now we can go underwater without having to deal with the poison effects. Mwaha!
Oh, sweet. That didn't take long.
We had to deal with enough water to where it was annoying, though. Not game warpingly annoying like it's going to be later, but, annoying. Alright, Alcidana, what did you want to talk to us about?
Ah, you're back. I was just about to die. I changed my mind.
So, Alcidana is actually, what he's doing here specifically is explaining what Lumisa's goal here is. To discover the cause of the dissonance, resolve the dissonance, and then use the resolution of dissonance in order to, finally summon and kill Eglana. Because, yeah, spoilers, Eglana is a fully completed entity. That's it, it's Aeneid, not Locopola. Yeah, it's the Vanir and the Aeneid. Although the Locopola are a powerful faction as well. Oddly enough, the reason why Lumisa is actually even here, and the reason why Lameza and Sean are here, is because the Locopola have already escaped Eglana and are going out searching for old La-Mulana 1 artifacts. And that is a plot point that will get briefly explained to us later.
Let's go spend some more time with our cute and cuddly, deadly enemies.
I mean, the bats aren't that deadly. However, one thing that was not made entirely clear is, in order to collect the dissonance, you have to find this area of bad music and red mist. Use the Beherit that Alcidana gave us, and that will allow us to collect dissonance. And the reason why we need to do that is because, if you recall, in the 2 parts ago, we discovered a particular altar that Samaranta referred to as the Corridor of Blood. We need an empowered Beherit in order to manipulate the Corridor of Blood in order to get to other areas in the ruins.
So, are we going to hit that giant statue head in the nose at some point?
No, because that giant statue head is our way up to Frey.
Huh. Well, dare I say, how refreshing it is that water doesn't deal damage. I remembered that. I remember that door was fake. We're learning.
It's nice to be able to actually swim without consequences. Anyway,
right.
Back to Immortal Battlefield we go.